It's a Gold Jacket Thursday, and we go back-to-back Rams legends. Jackie Slater last week, and this week, the second overall pick in the 1966 NFL Draft. Played guard for 13 seasons in the NFL, 11 of those. He was named to the Pro Bowl for the L.A. Rams. And my question, how long does it take to get from Cleveland Heights to Canton? 23 years and 184 straight games. We welcome back Tom Mack. Good to have you.
Thank you very much. It's fun to be here.
I first want to ask you about Cleveland Heights to Ann Arbor, where you became an All-Big Ten and All-American Wolverine. In the early 60s, Tom, the Wolverines weren't that good when you started. Woody Hayes had their number. Tell me how your relationship started with Michigan head coach Bump Elliott and how you went to Michigan and got out of Ohio.
I guess I'd tell you I was lucky as much as anything. Believe it or not, other sport I was kind of good at was swimming, and my swim coach was a Michigan alum. He's the guy that actually set everything up to get me the chance to go to Michigan to play football. And it's kind of backwards when I think about it, because that's how I met Bump Elliott, who was just a wonderful, wonderful guy and a good coach. And gave us the opportunity to play on a team that we ended up being the Big Ten and Rose Bowl champions. The irony of that whole activity was about a third of our team was from the state of Ohio. We had kids from Columbus, we had kids from Cincinnati, we had kids from the Cleveland area, and also the Toledo area. I think there were probably about 15 to 20 guys that were from Ohio on our team, and the roster was only, I think, about 35.
So tell me this. As a kid, did you grow up loving football? Were you a Buckeye fan? And then when you got to Michigan, explain the rivalry. What did that feel like to you in the 60s?
My father, just by chance, happened to have been a very, very good athlete. In college, he went to Case, played football, but the real key to his success was he played baseball and was with the Cleveland Indians for about 10 years. He was a second baseman, and he'd grown up in Cleveland. So the first thing I wanted to do as a young kid was be a good baseball player. That turned out to be the last thing I was good at, because I had terrible eyes, had about 2200 vision or something like that. Couldn't see the ball, and I had listened for it, but I couldn't see it. So I didn't end up being a very good baseball player. Dad had also been an All-American at Case here in Cleveland. That really, I guess, gave me the opportunity to play football and be fairly good at it. We had a real good representation of Ohio football players on the Michigan team. So it was really fun to beat Ohio State 10-0. So we got to go to the Rose Bowl and they got to go home.
Tom, there's stories out there that maybe early on in your career at Michigan, your head coach, Bump Elliott, came to you and suggested a position change. Take us back to that moment and maybe how that launched you into some real success on your way to a Hall of Fame career.
That's more than true. I was supposed to be an end, and as I said, I had real bad eyes, blind as a bat, actually. So I have to listen for the ball because I couldn't see the damn thing. They almost immediately came to me and said, we'd like to have you move from being a offensive end, and my offensive end experience to that point was I was the end of the bench. So that wasn't very good. But they said, well, we'd like you to try to be an offensive lineman. So I said, yeah, I'm game for that if it means I get to play. So they switched me to offensive tackle. That happened to be a great move for me. It worked out pretty well for Michigan also.
Visiting with Tom Mack, class of 1999 into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. 5 All-NFL selections, 11 Pro Bowls, 13 seasons. Games missed, 0. 184 straight for my man. You go out to L.A., and it's Hollywood and all that. Tell me about, the culture shock of that and how you adjusted.
Well, actually, that's it was all kind of true, is what you're saying. I got lucky. We played in the Rose Bowl the year before, in my junior year, and I happened to meet a young lady on a blind date in Pasadena, California. It turned out that she's been my wife for 59 or 69 years. So
great draft pick, Tom. Great draft pick.
pretty good choice. Anyway, it worked out extremely well for me, and it turned out to be pretty good for the Rams also. Because as you said, I was lucky enough that I played every game. Although, to be honest with you, I'll tell you that one game I had my knee screwed up so bad that I actually got myself in for one play to keep that little string of games going. But at least I got in, and they counted it. So it's fun to hear me say I never missed a game.
Tom, when you look back at your career and all the great things you did in the National Football League, is there a game that sticks with you in a positive way, an individual moment where you look back and you're like, I'm really proud of what we did as a team in that game that year? Or for you individually, maybe a matchup, an individual matchup that you were proud of how you played?
Yeah, games stick in your mind, and the better the opponent you're playing against. I played against some, what I would consider pretty classy, pretty great defensive tackles over the years. Probably the best of the best that I played against was a fellow named Bob Lilly from the Dallas Cowboys. He was extremely fast, extremely quick. He was very, very agile. So he was extremely hard to block against. I was lucky enough that the attributes I had happened to match pretty well with the attributes he had. But the second guy that I really concerned myself and matched up against was a fellow named Alan Page, who was a defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. He was good. He was quick. He was a very smart guy. In fact, I think he ended up being a Minnesota Supreme Court justice. Kind of broke my heart in some ways because we played a game that they ended up calling me for supposedly jumping offside, and I had not jumped offside. So you get a little bit irritated by when an official makes a bad call, especially when it's a bad call on an offensive lineman.
All right, Tom, this may be my favorite question I want to ask you. So you're out in Hollywood, and by the way, you went up against some damn good defensive guys in your own practice with the LA Rams. Let's not forget that either. So you get out there, and a lot of the guys on the Rams got attracted to Hollywood. Were you in the $6 Million Man TV show? And did you star in that show with the man who eventually became Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers?
Well, the answer to both questions is yes, I guess.
How in the world did that happen?
Stuff happens sometimes when you're out there. It just is one of those things. I kind of walked into it, and I kind of walked into it backwards. Hollywood was a foreign place to me, and I wasn't a particularly good actor because I was in a couple of movies. But that was kind of it. And there were other guys on the teams. My car mate for 7 years was Merlin Olsen. Merlin went on to have a great career, not just playing football, but then he was involved in Hollywood and movies for, I think, about another 10 or 12 years. He was on Little House on the Prairie for a long, long time and was a very good actor. So it's funny how things work out. There were a number of guys on our team. I'm thinking of Fred Darf as another one that did get a little piece Hollywood one time or another.
I'm sure they needed a big-looking dude in that deal, and you filled the bill, man. It's as they say, you fit the suit. You also fit the gold jacket, and you're going to be in Canton this weekend. A Hall of Fame greeting from a Hall of Famer. Saturday, 9:15 a.m. in the lobby. 11:30, you'll be a part of a presentation there in the Super Bowl Gallery Theater. I know it's been a while since your induction, but I know you're going to soak it in this weekend, back a stone's throw from where you grew up, and you're in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, football heaven. I hope you have a great weekend with the fans, and we'll send them up to you.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.